Hey everyone, welcome to the Eye Opener Society. Welcome back to the show. Your host, Gary.
Me, Hannah. Hey.
How's everybody doing? Again, welcome back to the show. Thank you again so much for listening. I honestly want to thank everybody because this show is going to really be dedicated to listeners. Those of you that push play every time, those of you that are just trying the show, even the ones that might not enjoy the show, at least you're giving it a try. We appreciate that so much because no matter what we do, no matter what we push as far as advertising or anything like that, the best way to help us is just by listening and sharing. It's the easiest way to do it. Costs you nothing, right? So, having said that, I want you to go to eyeopenersociety.podbean.com. And if you go up to the top, we have our sponsors too as well. You have Bear Blend, which is one of my favorites. I can't stop smoking this stuff. Put it in your pipe, put it in, get the all natural cigars. It's all natural, all organic. There's none of that garbage nicotine or addictive chemicals or anything like that. It's just a fantastic smoke. If you go to their website, on our website, I have the link there where you can go buy your stuff, check out what they got. We get a little kickback. And we also have, Hannah, you want to take Reaper Apparel?
Oh, yeah, we do have Reaper Apparel. Yes, it is reaperapparelco.com. The link is on our website as well. They have anything from keychains, stickers, shirts, sweatshirts, sweatsuits. I'm still waiting for that.
Oh, somebody's got to buy it for us.
I know, right? But they're a great company overall. I love the way they started out, but yeah, Reaper Apparel, check them out.
Yep. So go to our website again, eyeopenersociety.podbean.com. And at the top, we got all the links. And if you don't want to buy anything, but you want to help us out, buy us a coffee. There's a link for that too. Or
A
buy us a hot
pizza,
dog, a pizza,
wings,
whatever,
it's
wings, I
not
mean,
enough,
whatever.
whatever.
So tonight's episode is the listener appreciation episode. And we have somebody with us tonight, and they are an actual listener. So let's welcome Brittany.
Hey, Brittany.
Hi. Hi,
How are you?
guys. I'm
Welcome.
good. How are you?
Hey, we're doing great. First off, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're gonna ask you really, and you don't gotta lie about it. How were you turned on by the show?
So I work with Gary, and we've been working together for 6 months now, I think. A little under, maybe. I always pass him in the hallway. Just we have little chats over coffee, nothing major. And one day we got to discussing just with the pandemic and how people survive and mental health and little things like that. Um, and he gave me a little sticky note that had the Eye Opener Society on it. So that day in my office, maybe not my smartest move, but I went back, I opened it up, and the first episode that kind of drew me in was I think it was your March 4th or 5th episode. That was Hannah opening up about like suicide, depression, all of that. And within 5 minutes, I was in tears. So that's the one that hooked me in. And then I just started listening from there to other ones, um, different different points of views that you guys have, and I there were a lot of things that like either resonated with me or got me really thinking, like from a different standpoint. So
Hmm,
I like that. I like that a lot. One, I appreciate you listening too. I mean,
me too.
yeah, because we just because we work together, you're still a listener, you're still a fan of the show. I mean, even if you hated the show, as long as you don't hate me, it's okay. But yeah, I like that though, because Hannah and I, we've always struggled as far as getting more feedback than what we, need to keep
Hmm.
going. Like we always asking for feedback and we never really get anything that much
Yeah.
here and there, but we know we're touching people in some way at times. And that's what's really important, and especially important to you, Hannah.
Yeah.
And Brittany, you as well, you've experienced, I mean, as much as you want to talk about it, I mean, I'm not going to push you or anything, but you've experienced a lot of what Hannah gone through.
I have, and I think that's why I got so drawn into it. I'm gonna take a little step back because I am, not everybody is, but I'm a very firm believer in signs and things happening for a reason and people coming into your life and conversations happening for a reason. And it was maybe like a week before Gary had given me the sticky note. I had probably one of the most challenging weeks, not only personally but career wise. So I was just kind of in this like little funk, so to say. Um, and when I listened to Hannah, and while our stories are very similar, they're also very, very different. Because my abuse started at a young age as well. I was 8. So, hearing how you grew up, hearing the bullies, hearing your story, how cheerleading was that one thing that kind of kept you going, kept motivating you, kept pushing you. That was very similar for me too. And unfortunately, I had a very similar experience where my senior year, the one thing that got me out of the house, that kept me going, that kept pushing me, I was cut from the cheerleading squad. I couldn't do JV and I couldn't do varsity because I was a senior. And it was me and some other girls as well. So it was just listening to you kind of really pulled me in that day, and listening to you being so vulnerable and sharing that. And I've told Gary this, but I share a lot of what happened with me, not because I want pity or I want people to feel bad for me, or I, um, want the attention. It's because if I can just help one person that feels like they're struggling and that
Yeah.
nobody understands, that's huge for me, because I've been in the place where I felt like not one person understood me,
Yeah.
embarrassed and shamed. And so that's why I'm pretty open with my past, with the depression, the anxiety, the things that have kind of crippled me as a human. So
Yeah. Well, I want to first say that it's really honorable, just for you to, come out and explain to us like what you just explained. And I think that with you and I, it's very similar as far as, you don't want the pity. You don't want someone to be, your crutch. You just want to help that one person. And I think with just hearing you, saying that you heard my story and it was similar to yours, like it touches my heart because, at one point in my life, like I didn't like you just want someone to understand. So I know just by speaking to you and what you just said that you understand like what I went through, and like we both had similar feelings. We've had so much similar experiences. So, look at you now. We may be fighting depression, anxiety still on the daily, but we're here. We made it through those times. So I applaud you for that.
well,
And I
thank you.
appreciate you listening in. And I'm sorry for making you cry first 5 minutes in.
No, it was kind of one of those things that I needed. It definitely, without Gary introducing me to that, to your podcast, to you guys' like whole setup, I wouldn't even be here today getting the opportunity to kind of speak with you guys about everything. So it's just after that episode and I kept listening to more, there was always something I could take away from
Mhm.
each one, even though some, like I listened to your hero podcast. What is a hero? And my definition of a hero is the lawyers. I know it's their job. They're um, the DA, um, the victim witnesses, or I'm sorry, the victim advocates that were there for not only myself but the few other people that were involved with it.
Mhm.
Um, we had a typically in the Commonwealth, trial is 1 year start to finish. Ours, unfortunately, was 3 years with lots of twists and turns and trauma, and they stuck with us that whole time. And it even came down to the U.S. Marshals getting involved, and the two that we got to meet, like those were my heroes because they stuck up for me. They believed me. They didn't once question or waver their support for not only myself, but somebody else who was very important to me as we went through this whole nightmare trial. So
Mhm.
it was just getting that going. And a lot of the things that Gary was saying too about people always constantly looking for that hero title. For me personally, a hero is somebody who they may know the impact that they've had on somebody's life, but they don't go seeking for that constant feedback.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with that strongly. When I was, on my episode talking about um the ambulance EMT, like he'll forever be a hero to me in my life. And then of course, when I went through my assault and it was on like the FBI level, speaking to just some random FBI agent that, called me on a restricted number and like just him just kind of like lowering his professional being and just like being apologetic for what happened to me at such a young age. Like I wish I would, remember his name um or meet him one day, but yeah, that's like a hero in my eyes. So I understand what you're saying that, they just don't look for that recognition. They're just doing their job, but um in our eyes, they're always going to be heroes. They're going to be people that made that huge impact on our lives.
And it's exactly what you were saying too, just how people come into your life, and that could be related to a hero as well. It doesn't have to just be like, oh wow, this person just crossed my path. For what was that reason? Could it be because of a hero, or is it just somebody that's giving you that sign? And I think in the coming month, I'm going to be speaking a little bit more about this as far as signs, symbols. It doesn't necessarily have to be an actual sign, a physical sign or anything, but it can be people as well. Yes, our paths always cross all the time. There's people that come and go in our lives all the time, but there's a reason for that.
Hmm.
I think also just, Brittany, you and I, paths cross, I think it's more than just this podcast. Because I mean, yeah, we have a podcast. We're not medical doctors, we're not counselors or anything like that, but we're going to speak on a very raw level, and that might, trigger something in somebody to say, hey, I can talk about this too. And I
Hmm.
feel that's what's going on. And I feel that's probably why our paths have crossed.
Yeah.
We're very, open to that. And we're very open to people having something where they can actually lay out probably the hardest things in their lives, not for sympathy or anything like that, but to actually get a point across and saying, listen, there's other people like this.
Hmm.
And if you're having these problems, this is the way I dealt with it. This is what you might be able to do. This is the path you can take. Because again, we're all here. There's three of us, and all of us have been in some sort of situation at some point where we could have taken a different path.
Hmm.
And we
oh,
did.
yes.
So we're here and we're talking about it. And I think that's going to help more people. And I hope we're reaching more people
Yeah.
too, as well. It's hard when you're doing a podcast where every now and then we throw in some changes and we don't really have an identity, but that's what we are. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good that we're helping somebody out, and to be able to come on here, never doing a podcast or anything, just coming on here and being completely raw. It's very appreciative from us, and I really think your story needs to be heard too, as well. I even picked up today that something was just not going right with you. I just picked that up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's, I think the one thing I've learned um, is with my childhood, I didn't want to live it. From the abuse that started before my parents got divorced to the abuse that happened when I was 8 up until I was 18. And I just didn't want to live. Like, I didn't feel like it would get any better. And I could have taken a very horrible road. Like, I had an addiction, not to any drugs or to anything, but to the attention of people, like their affection, because I had always strived for it. And thankfully, the one thing that was also another like kind of addiction or crutch for me was work. Like I could prove myself at work. I could show that I was worthy of something, like I was valuable. I could add value to people.
Mhm.
But one thing I really like about your podcast and how open you guys are, is because one thing for me is I struggled finding a therapist that I could like relate to, that I could feel comfortable explaining everything that happened to me, because there's a lot that some days I just step back and I'm like, I don't know how I survived, but I did, and I'm glad I did. But it's sometimes it's just people like you and the word of mouth, as I found out with Gary. Listening to it, it just helps in a different way and makes you feel understand or understood. So, but yeah, today I was the past. I think the past month has definitely been a challenge for me. I've worked so hard the past like 3-ish years to be where I'm at today, and um, I don't know what's going on. I know I'm going to get through it. It's that, as you said in your last podcast, that dark gray cloud with the light behind it. Like I'm going to get there. It's just getting there.
Yeah.
So,
We all get there. We
but
all reach our goals. You get me extra salty because I've been around so long and worked so long. You will get to that point. You struggle so hard and you do things always by the rules, playing by the rules, and you're finally at that point where you want to be, and then you go a little bit higher. And then with me, things happened and things changed. And now, I'm still in the same field. I finally said, the hell with this. I can't do it anymore. I said, this is my last year. I'm gonna walk away from it all. I have ideas, I have things I want to try. I'm not going to be that fool who's waiting until retirement when they drop dead and all of a sudden now they had all these ideas and that's it. It's over. Life is done. I don't want to be part of that. I want to be part of something bigger. I want to be part of myself. And that's not selfish. What I'm saying is we need to do the things that we feel is right.
Mhm.
And that's going to be actually on our next episode
Yeah.
or one of our next episodes. But because I made a decision, it's amazing the type of backlash you get from
Mhm.
people. Like they're ridiculing you for saying, hey, I want to do something different with my life. I want to do something just that's going to make me happy. And to receive that sort of backlash, that's where people stumble and they say, oh, maybe this is not a good idea. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And then it ruins all the plans, and then you just keep being going back to the same repetitive thing you've been doing your whole life because now you're scared. But it's all up here because those people are um always ridiculing and giving you the backlash. They're stuck in a spot where they're looking at you and they're jealous. Oh crap, I don't want him to go and be successful or do something he wants. I think that's what it is. So you may be in that spot right now where you want to be where you're at and all. Who knows? 10 years down the road, things change. You keep doing what you're doing and what makes you happy. And that I will support to the end all the time.
Yeah. And I did want to add, um, to continue on with the things that me and you relate to. Um, I am still currently trying to get myself out of that addiction as far as impressing at work. I just feel like I'm constantly needing to like prove myself, and he yells at me nonstop about it.
Mhm.
I've been with my employer for a little over 6 years now, and I have more than enough proven my worth. Um, there's been, situations happen where, I get this job title, then the job title is no longer mine because they're changing up the way the system works, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm still expected to do half the job title that I'm not supposed to have anymore. And I just was like, I've had enough. I want to um just messaged my boss. I said, listen, this is what I want for myself. Let me know how we can make it happen. And that's it. I'm not going to stress myself out. I'm going to do what's on my job description, and that's what you're going to get from me. And you can't default me on that, and you can't hold me to a higher expectation, because this is what my job description says, and this is what my coworkers that have the same job description have as me, and that's it. And they can't fault you for that. So I am in that similar, you feel like it's like an addiction. Like you just feel like you can just prove that you're just the best, the best, the best at work. But I'm slowly but surely, you know, it's a practice for me. I find myself tripping sometimes doing like just the extra things, and I slide myself out away from my desk, and I'm just like, nope, I need to take a walk, and I'll just walk around the house. I work from home. So I walk around the house and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's not my job. Or yeah, if I'm gonna do this, then you need to just calculate that in the fact that I'm not gonna meet my quota. I'm not gonna go above and beyond anymore. Um, so yeah, he's applauding me. But I know if you're still going through that, just know, don't my advice, the best way I can say it right now, is don't give yourself so like to the point where you're exhausted at the end of the day. Give yourself to the point where by the end of the day, you're not so exhausted that you don't want to go outside and enjoy the rest of your day, or you don't want to go, if you go to the gym, you don't want to go to the gym, or, you end up getting takeout because you're just too exhausted to cook. Don't give them that. Give them the point of yourself that you're content with giving.
Yeah, I think that's really important because I've been where I'm at now. I've been within the whole group for I have actually 13 years in. And when I first started where I'm at, I was in a different department. I was there for 10 and a half years, and I gave way too much of myself to that employer. And one thing that always holds me back is I don't have a college degree. Everything that I've
Either.
learned, I've like built up by myself. And for so long, I tied my worth to a college degree. Like I'm never going to be able to go anywhere or leave where I'm at because I, I'm not going to make this money ever again. And I don't know anything else other than what I've kind of learned for the past 10 and a half years. And I was so wrong. And
Sure, yeah. It hurts to like feel that and like admit that to yourself. You're like, oh, I was wrong. But yeah, I feel that.
oh, yeah. And that job actually pushed me to a point of no return during COVID. And between that and so I was married. Um, I had a failing marriage at the time, and you know, work couldn't be an escape, and home was not an escape because we were working from home. So summer of 2021, I pretty much was in the worst place mentally that I could have ever been in. Um, and to get myself out of that, I actually took a huge pay cut and career step back to like an entry level position, um, just so that I could work on my mental health, but still be able to provide for myself. Um, and I did this all probably at the worst time because then I decided I was going to leave my marriage too and moved out. And so I took a huge pay cut, left my marriage, and kind of started from ground zero and built my way back up. So between where I'm at now and the very first one I had, um, I was there 6 months before I got promoted. And then that gave me kind of that confidence back, like, you can do other things. You're not limited to just one thing, especially with a career. And this kind of plays into what you guys said, do what makes you happy. You only get like one life to live.
Yeah.
So I was there for about a year and a half before um, I had applied for where I'm at now. And everything was good for a while, but I've kind of felt that pressure mounting back up. Like um, my mentor, she's great, but there's this huge pressure to be perfect all the time. And I'm not perfect. I'm so far from perfect. It's not even funny. And I make sometimes just the silliest mistakes. And I put so much pressure on myself. Um, and then I end up just kind of mentally beating myself up over something that I shouldn't, because everybody makes mistakes. So right now, I'm just trying to give myself that grace that you're allowed to make those mistakes. You're allowed to be human,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't mean you're any less of a person or that you can't complete your job. You just have to pick up and keep going and find ways to improve altogether. So
Yeah. That's what I tell my boss all the time. I'm like, I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. And you know what I do? I mental note those mistakes. And it's like, I kind of, I grieve it a little bit. I'm in my little mental salty mood. And then I'm just like, no, it's gonna be, I'm gonna sob about it for a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm human. I'm gonna make mistakes and I'm gonna make that mental note about the mistake that I made. Will I make it again? Maybe, but you know what? I'm human. I know how to do my job and I'm good at it. And at the end of the day, it kind of reminds me of our episode that don't let the corporations bully you.
Yeah.
Don't let them bully you. If it's a repeating thing, then that's something, of course,
Hmm.
like I'm like with me, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's on me. But silly mistakes, that's not, And I did want to add, I know Gary has some to say. Um, you had mentioned, you felt like it was like a step back. And then, you moved out and everything like that. But I want you to know, if you don't already know, that like you got away from something that was traumatic for you, you a failed marriage. But how I look at it is that you got away from something that wasn't making you happy. So I applaud you for doing that. You chose your happiness, and now you probably look back and you're like, yeah, that sucked. It didn't work out. But look at yourself now. You're not in that position anymore.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really good advice, and it absolutely is. Of course, my advice when it comes to work, I'm like, if you're making mistakes, like just do what I do. I cover it up. That's all. I just cover up my mistakes. And if somebody figures it out, oh well, if you figured it out, yeah, I tried to cover it up. You caught me. That's just how I go.
I tried to fix it.
Yeah, try to fix it. It didn't work. Oh well. But
Gary's a band-aid kid.
yeah. So everybody handles things in different ways. It comes either with experience or just personality. So don't ever be afraid. Don't ever let work be the end all be all decider in life. It's really not. I've learned that. I was always a type A personality. I worked some really, interesting, tough jobs and all, and I loved it. I had a passion for it. But when I used to work in New York City with the emergency medical service, the one thing everybody I worked with always told me, tone it down, relax. Why are you so excited about this job? I'm saying, listen, this is the best job of my life. I love every minute of it. They always said, you know what? That's going to come back to bite you. Guess what? Got laid off. The city just said, sayonara, you're all gone. Every one of you got nothing for it. Nothing. I got, like I always say, I got a book full of certifications and they mean nothing. Do you know what does mean something? Me, my life. What makes me happy? Coming in this room, sitting with my stepdaughter, doing these podcasts. I have a beautiful wife. I have a wonderful roof over my head thanks to Hannah here,
And an honorary grandson.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I got to deal with, but yeah, you do what makes you happy. And that's all, that's all that matters. I go to work at this point now just knowing, hey, if I fuck up today, no big deal because
Mhm.
I'm going to be gone soon. I'm going to eventually, I'm going to take a path that I want to go down. And that's just the way I'm looking at it. And I feel much freer that way. And hey, listen, come the end of the year, am I going to say, oh shit, I really screwed up? Maybe,
Am
things
I going to go
happen.
through with this?
Yeah. Who knows? You never ever know. Minds change. I always say life is just like a book. There's chapters. We all go through chapters. There's going to be sad chapters. There's going to be happy chapters. There's going to be, these suspenseful chapters. That's exactly what life is. Always remember, no matter what's going on in your life, you're going to be able to turn the page and something new is going to happen. But guess who's the writer of that life? It's you. You write the script. nobody else. We're just products of the environment. We're, you know, things are going to happen to us. And I think this is where a lot of this mental breakdowns of everybody is coming from,
Mhm.
because that's just environmental. You know, we're all being drawn in by all this negativity, and it's a grand scheme by the government and everything else. So, you know, I could definitely say that, but you definitely,
Oh, yeah.
you know, but you definitely have the ability to see beyond it. You know, it's just where you want to put yourself
Mhm.
and how much you desire being what you want to be.
I I've definitely learned that, and I think a lot of why I struggled when I did leave my marriage was I was so worried about what is everybody else going to think.
Mhm.
Like, and my little brother said to me when I told him, because I raised my, I helped to raise my sister and my brother. Like, we were very close. We have a really, really close relationship. All three of us have gone through so much together and just kind of made it out on the other side. I didn't want to disappoint him or my sister. But when I told him I was getting divorced, he said, "Congratulations." And that for me was like a huge eye opener. Like, all right. And now I get to do the things that make me happy. And I actually think, while I never wanted my son to have two homes, um, to have his time divided, uh, I think I've become a better mom, more involved, more active, more present. And I think I was losing that when I was married, because it was easy to be like, oh, I'll just let him do that today and I'll go do something else. So looking back, as hard as it was, I'd do it all over again to be where I'm at today. And I still struggle though, still struggle with beating myself up, thinking that, was there more I could have done? Or was there something else could I given him more time or been more patient? And trying to get away from that sometimes is really hard, because as an overthinker, I overthink everything. So
I understand that. My relationship before I met my husband, it was like my first love, um and we had so much in common that I was like this is it for me, like this is, like and so it was just like a constant back and forth like relationship, and like I just kept, I waited for a while, I was like I'm waiting for change, I'm waiting for change. And after we finally, broke up, and, I was like, should I have given him more time? Should I give him another chance? And then I was just like, it was so weird for me because I was so sickly in love with this person. But one day I just woke up, and I don't know if like something came down or the universe just zapped me in my sleep or something. But I swear to you, one day I just woke up and I was like, nah, I'm fucking done. I'm done. This person has seen me at my worst. They've seen me at my best. And I was patient. I was kind, but I was pushed around, and I deserve better. And I beat myself up for months still about it, but like I just stayed firm to I'm done. I made the right decision. And, here I am now, living the life that I'm living. And I don't even think about that anymore. So I
yeah,
think it's just the constant, like I understand that. It's just like the constant, like, did I do it right? Did I do it right? But I think the important thing for you to remember is that, you went through this journey. And I think it's always wonderful to remember the good, but also, unfortunately, sometimes remember the bad. So that way, you snap yourself out of those moments where you're like, shit, did I do the right thing? Just remember that bad, and you're like, yep, I did. And then, you go on with your day. I know it's easier said than done sometimes, but sometimes it's just slapping yourself in the face to get you back into, yeah, I made the right decision is the smartest thing to do. Sometimes I'm a really big advocate on sometimes being mean to myself. And I mean that in a light way, not like a harsh, hard way, but I'm just like, when I do something and I say something, but I know I needed to say it, I'm like, yeah, yep, I needed that slap.
I understand that wholeheartedly because I tend to focus on the positives. I look back at those good memories. I'm like, oh, we did this, this, and this. And I'm like, oh, do you want to go through this again? Is
Yeah.
this how you want to live your life? Like
Mhm.
feeling like you're not good enough. So, and, and by, and when I say the failed marriage, it wasn't just things that he was doing. I mean, I wasn't a perfect wife either. But I
No
think
one's ever perfect.
I, I just got to the point where for me, it was somebody who I was supposed to love and trust and have confidence in. And there was no trust or confidence in the words that they were telling me. So
Mhm.
I had to just say, enough is enough. And I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, and I
And
applaud you for that.
I think, and I don't know for you, but I know for me, as somebody who's gone through so much trauma and abuse, it's sometimes hard for me to just stick up for myself and be like, no, I'm done. So that I think was the turning point in a lot of my healing and my journey to where I am now, because that was one of the first times, other than testifying against my abuser, that I stood up for myself and I was like, no, you know what? I deserve better.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Yep. We're going to end it on that note. Okay. Because we've got things to do. However, we do our Eye Opener Society's live Facebook at the end of every month. Okay. The Behind the Eyes episodes. So we're going to go over every episode we did this for this month. You're part of it. If you could join us on the Facebook Live, I think that would be fantastic. We'll have you come in right when we talk about your episode, and hopefully we have some people on that would interact with us. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I really would like that. Um, but yeah, definitely join us for that if you can. It's going to be on the 31st. It's a Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh,
I have it in my calendar already.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Cool.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming on as like a listener and, conversing with you has truly like it's really honestly touched me and it feels like I'm so blessed to have met you, even though we haven't met face to face, and I just want to let you know like you're beautiful and I can feel like that your soul is so beautiful and you I don't know if you hear this a lot, but I'm proud of you. I know you don't know me, but I'm proud of you. And I, again, thank you so much for coming on and being a listener and your feedback.
Yeah. And thank you both,
Yeah.
because without either one of you, I wouldn't be here or have this opportunity. So I think what you guys do is great. So I'm very blessed to have this opportunity with you guys.
Well, we really do appreciate it. Honestly, there was a reason I had you come on. There really was. I just felt there was something there, and I feel it right now. I think you're a fantastic little addition to this because it does. It's nice when you got a couple people that are doing a podcast. Sometimes it might seem all scripted and all, but when you actually have a listener that's giving feedback,
Hmm.
you get that. And I'm feeling that with you. And I really do appreciate that. And to any of our other listeners that have anything, you could always contact us. Just go to eyeopenersociety.podbean.com. Contact us through our Gmail, the third eye. Is it still third? Or is that's my other email. There's two. You could get me at the eye opener society at gmail.com. That's one I use more. The other one, the old third eye meditation, is still up, third eye meditation net at gmail.com as well. Either one will work. It doesn't
Or on
matter.
Facebook, whatever.
Or get us on Facebook. I'd rather get that than all the spammy messages. So reach out to us if you have something you want to share. If you don't want to come on the show and talk about it, you could give us your experience and we can talk about it. And again, and I know with talking to Brittany too, yeah, it's like she said, it's nice to talk to somebody. It was so because I went through the same thing with you when I needed a counselor. It was so hard to get one. And I had very few people reach out, but it was nicer to sit and talk to somebody who is not a licensed professional or somebody that's going to relate to you on the same level as you and actually talk to you as a friend. And that meant a lot and it helped me so much until I got my counselor and I was able to go through that. So it does sometimes help just to talk to people that are on your level that are just, going
Yeah,
to
or
tell
had
you what
similar
it is.
experiences.
Yeah, exactly. Or at least somebody that's just going to listen. That's,
Yeah.
sometimes really important too, as well. So with that,
That
Brittany, if you got something to say, go
oh,
for it.
I was gonna say that's probably where you got suckered in because you were just listening to me talk when we were getting coffee. So
Yeah, probably.
you're a good listener.
That's it, man.
He
It's
is.
all about listening. And I feel energies too. So that's my other
He's
superpower.
like,
So
damn, this chick feels like Hannah. I can't.
I said,
I got
ooh,
a office, Hannah.
yeah. And that's why I said, ooh, here's a listener. Here at the Eye Opener Society. But
Oh,
that's good. I do like it because and sometimes I feel that that's the outlet. It's sometimes it's hard to approach somebody you don't really know and say, I can help you. But I think having this platform is even easier because I say, listen to the Eye Opener Society. It's a couple people. That's all it is, and you might connect with it. And that's what we tell our audience all the time. You might connect with us. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you will. Just wait for the next episode. That's how I feel, and I hope we do reach more people in the future, and we can have some more episodes that really open up about, you know, self help and
Life.
life. That's really it. So if you're still interested, everybody, again, eyeopenersociety.podbean.com. Listen to us. We'll here every Monday for a new episode. And don't forget, at the end of every month, we have Behind the Eyes, which is a live. So follow us on Facebook at the Eye Opener Society. And you get to see actual podcast live. And you get to give feedback, talk with us, ask questions, and the whole concept is to go over all the episodes that we've done for the month. So we talk about each topic. We want to thank Brittany again for joining us and stay tuned for all of our other episodes. And it's going to take me like 3 minutes now to figure out how to, with this new Zoom, how to stop recording. So join us again soon.
See ya.
Bye.